In the tea house, a group of 7 people sat in a quiet atmosphere. Xianxia and others were excited, unable to calm down for a long time. The news they heard from Shower made them inexplicably excited. Originally, as long as they were able to break free from the constraints of the laws of the shadowed star world, they were already satisfied, and they had never known that this Green Hill star had encountered such a good thing for the first time. For them who have been struggling with the shadowed star all their lives and struggling to pursue higher martial arts, nothing is more beautiful than this news. There is no need to discuss, everyone can see the emotion in each other's eyes. They obviously want to participate. You don't need to worry about it. If what the shopkeeper said is true, there is still some time before the blood prison smelting trial begins. If you want to participate, you can stay here and investigate clearly, and it will not be too late. Xianxia glanced at them. Yes, the shopkeeper is just an ordinary person. Although the blood prison smelting trial is a rare event in 1,000 years, he probably doesn't know much about it. This kind of thing should really be investigated and confirmed. Xianxia gently nodded. Agree with Xianxia's point of view. In that case, let's stay. Anyway, it's too early. If it's really that good here, then don't leave for the time being. Qiantong suggested. No comment. Mo Yu nodded. After the negotiation was made, everyone quickly found a good inn in this green water city and opened a few wing rooms to live in. Xianxia didn't stay. After he entrusted Xianxia to Qiantong and the others to take care of her, he left Green Water City on his own. He needs to find the trace of Su Yan on this Green Hill star. With the connection between him and Su Yan, if Su Yan really fell on this cultivation star, it is not difficult to find her. As long as the two of them approach a certain range, they will naturally feel it. What's more, Su Yan's ice soul bead is still in Xianxia's hands, and this thing will have some reactions to Su Yan. Xianxia acted like the wind, standing above the star shuttle, full of anticipation, and began tossing around Green Hill Star. After crossing the lofty mountains, across the rivers, lakes and seas, large tracts of land were left behind by Xianxia. As time goes by, he gradually became disappointed. Green Hill Star has the nearest cultivation star that Xianxia and Su Yan separated from. She has a great possibility of living here. The cultivation star farther away is at least a few months away from here. Xianxia felt that Su Yan shouldn't have traveled farther. However, after searching for it, there was no trace of Su Yan, and the ice soul bead did not react at all. This result surprised him. Su Yan is not here. 6 months. Xianxia ran almost all over Green Hill Star. He didn't stop for a moment, but the final result disappointed him. Above a peak, Xianxia stands tall on the top of the peak. Looking at the distant scenery, he looked lonely. Su Yan wasn't found. He's not in a good mood. In the jungle, there was a pair of wild eyes watching him, and with the help of the cover of the forest, they approached him silently. This is the territory of a powerful monster beast. Without the permission of the owner, no creatures can set foot. The creatures who dare to violate this rule have already become the flesh of this monster beast. The monster beast has its own intuition. It quietly looked at Xianxia and realized that this person's strength was not too strong. It was ready to kill and let Xianxia know the consequences of infringing on his territory. With the help of the wind direction, it completely eliminated its own odor, and approached Xianxia step by step, looking for the best place and time to attack. Leisurely, it saw Xianxia, turned his head and glanced at where he was hiding. "You're out of luck," Xianxia murmured, grinning. The smile chilled the approaching monster beast to the bone, and an extremely uneasy feeling suddenly spread from the bottom of its heart. Before it could move, Xianxia waved his hand, and the 3 major helper appeared on the stage. Carrying the heaven-shaking pillar, the stone puppet suddenly turned into a stone giant. The item spirit screamed and transformed into a red firebird. The dragon bone sword released amazing pressure. Accompanied by the high dragon roar, its head was more than 10 feet long. The green dragon shook his head and appeared. An anthropomorphic color of horror appeared in the eyes of the monster beast, turned around and ran away quickly. It knew at this moment that it had chosen the wrong target. Kill it. Xianxia grinned. The earth trembled immediately, and the stone puppet stepped forward and chased it, leaving deep footprints on the earth every time it stepped out. The firebird turned into a red light, hurriedly approaching the monster beast, and as it passed, the trees were burned and turned into ashes in the blink of an eye. The emerald dragon followed closely behind. Xianxia breathed out lightly, as if he was about to spit out the frustration in his heart, and then followed it unhurriedly. Now he was in a low mood, and the monster beast dared to come. It was simply seeking its own death. He needs to vent. The roar of the monster beast and the dull roar of the stone puppet came from the front, sometimes mixed with a call of the firebird and the dragon roar of the keel sword. The world's spiritual energy entangled over there, and there was a massacre in the jungle. Although the level of that monster beast is not low, it has the peak of 9th order, and it only takes one step to break through to 10th order. But where is it, the opponent of the stone puppet, firebird, and dragon bone sword? Even if it want to escape, there is no chance. There was no suspense about the battle. When Xianxia rushed over there, the monster beast that had just coveted him was already lying on the ground, with no breath. Its waist was broken, and the bone stubble was poking out. It seemed that it had been smashed by the stone puppet with a heaven-shaking pillar. The fur all over was charred, obviously because it was burned by the item spirit. The emerald dragon hovered over its corpse, seeming to want to devour its flesh and blood essence. Xianxia stopped it, hurried to the monster beast's corpse, and hurriedly ejected a golden blood thread into its body. Under the control of Xianxia's spiritual mind, the golden blood thread is like a living fish, swimming through the body of the monster beast. A bizarre scene appeared. The body of the monster beast shriveled at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the energy contained in the body seemed to have been swallowed by something. Xianxia looked at this scene. The look was plain, as if he had expected it. In a short while, the corpse of the monster beast completely became a corpse, and even its inner core disappeared. As soon as Xianxia raised his hand, a golden and red intersecting silk thread flew out of its corpse, like a living thing, moving back and forth between Xianxia's fingers. Looking at it quietly, Xianxia showed surprise and joy, and his previous loss was slightly slowed down. With a movement of the mind, the golden blood thread on his hand suddenly twisted and squirmed, and then turned into the appearance of a monster beast. It looked no different from the monster beast that died on the ground. Even the body shape is almost the same. It's just that this monster beast, which was transformed from golden blood, showed two colors of gold and red, and its eyes turned, seeming to be extremely spiritual. The way of golden blood thread transformation. This is recorded in the mystery of the second half of the Demon Blood Thread secret technique. Xianxia had already understood it thoroughly. It's just that there has been no chance to practice the transformation of golden blood thread. It is not only manifested in the fusion and convergence of different numbers of golden blood threads, and various ultimate moves are performed. It can also allow the golden blood thread to swallow the flesh and soul of the monster beast, giving the golden blood thread a new transformation. This is the rebirth of golden blood thread. It is the crystallization of the wisdom of the predecessor who created this secret technique. In the Emperor Garden, Xianxia fought against the beautiful leader of the Demon Blood Sect and saw her two demon blood threads transformed into two blood snakes. He was very curious at the time, and didn't know how the religion master did it. Later, after comprehending the second half of the secret technique of Demon Blood Thread, he understood the mystery. The golden blood thread was originally formed by Xianxia's golden blood. It can swallow the flesh and blood essence of the fused monster beast, absorb the energy of the inner core, and then can produce this kind of blood beast change. The two blood snakes of the demon blood leader are the blood beasts transformed by her demon blood thread. The blood beast can inherit the abilities of the monster beast before it is alive, and because it is transformed by Xianxia's golden blood, it is connected with his mind, like an arm. Before in the Shadowed Star, Xianxia hadn't had time to find suitable monsters, so he didn't practice the blood beast technique. Now he chanced upon a suitable one here, so he won't let it go. With the help of stone puppets, it is easy to succeed. After releasing his spiritual mind to perceive this blood beast, Xianxia nodded lightly, greatly satisfied. In terms of aura alone, the strength of this blood beast transformed from golden blood threads should not be lower than that of a second-order void return stage cultivator. Perhaps this strength is somewhat different from that before it was alive, but it is not very large. The most important thing is that Xianxia has more than one golden thread. As long as there are enough monsters, all of Xianxia's golden blood threads can be transformed into blood beasts, and hundreds of blood beasts will be released together. Even in the face of the Void King realm, Xianxia does not necessarily lack the power to fight. But it's not easy to find the right monster beast, so this thing has to be done slowly. Thinking like this in his heart, Xianxia thought happily, stretched out his hand towards the blood beast. The blood beast immediately became smaller, and in the blink of an eye, it became only the size of a pigeon egg, and it fell on Xianxia's palm when it was vertical. Xianxia smiled slightly, and when he was about to put it away, he suddenly seemed to remember something. He carefully stared at the spiritual blood beast in his palm, with a pensive expression in his eyes. He was plunged into contemplation, seeming to feel comprehension. After a long while, Xianxia's body was shaken, his eyes burst with light, and he murmured, "The pill has a spirit, so it can be called a spirit pill, so it is." At this moment, he somewhat understood the meaning contained in the words that kept him confused in the alchemy true understanding. Although it's just a guess, it's worth a try. If he succeeds, he can successfully refine the Void King Grade Spirit Pill and be promoted to the Void King Grade Alchemist. Disperse, go to the neighborhood to protect the law for me, don't let anything disturb me. Yang said in his mouth. The three major powers immediately dispersed and kept strictly nearby. Xianxia sat cross-legged, waving his hands, and took out a purple void cauldron and some boxes containing medicinal materials from the space ring. With his fingers punched into the purple void cauldron, Xianxia casually picked up a jade box, opened the lid, took out a Void King grade medicinal material from it, and poured it directly into the purple void cauldron. The conflict-graded divine consciousness burst out, and Xianxia began to control the fire to condense the medicine liquid. He is familiar with the road. To be continued.